Netanyahu because he didn't think Hamas would ever be a serious military threat.
Congo is a country with so much wealth. The people have been fighting to regain control.
From the corridors of power to the front lines of change, Borderline brings you in with analysis of the issues.
The US has power over them. Most of them will steal money from Haiti and invest in the US.
Of people who support Sonko and Jumai 5, over half of them don't have a voter's card.
Sounds like Nigeria.
Join Ireti Bakare-Yusuf on Borderline as she engages with policymakers and thought leaders,
giving you perspectives and insights you won't find anywhere else.
Be part of the conversation. Join us live.
Your voice matters on Borderlines as we explore the complexities.
Every Friday at 4 p.m.
on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Stay informed, stay engaged.
Step into the conversation.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Borderlines, the only show that takes you beyond borders. My name is Ireti Bakare-Yusuf. Right, there's a lot. It's literally rapid news. There's so much going on. So very much. Now, I'm connected to Brazil, but I can see my guest's space, but I can't see him. Hopefully he will come back in a second, and do bear with us because it will appear that the bandwidth on his side is somewhat low. But you know how we do in Nigeria, we get on with it. We get on with it because we do that best. Nothing can stop us. Now, should I introduce him first or should I give you a background? Okay, let me give you a background and we'll wait to see whether he's going to join us. So, you will remember sometimes last year, or you might not, so let me remind you. Did you ever follow Africa Stream? Africa Stream was an alternative online digital news platform. They basically specialized in news and history that concerns Africa. So they will give you political history, socio-political history, cultural history. But fundamentally, a lot of what they also did was they would give us the colonial and imperialist history that got us to where we are today, as in why Africa is shaped in the way it is. It was easily one of my favorites, if not my absolute favorite handle that I would follow on YouTube. I would follow them. I can see my guests now. Great. I would follow them on YouTube. I would follow them on Instagram, etc. Then out of the blue one day, Anthony Blinken, the then Foreign Secretary of the USA, accused them, this is them being Africa Stream, of being sponsored by Russia, which is really bizarre, and without even giving them an opportunity to defend themselves, suddenly Africa Stream was no more. It was shut down. You scramble for them, you couldn't find them. And they put out a message. I did my very best to try and get one of their founders, or at least a senior rep, to come on this show. We couldn't find one for some reason, and I would still bring them on. And then last week, something similar happened, this time in Brazil. Again, an alternative online digital news network. You see, traditional media has continued to lose listenership and followership and, viewership. That's what's been happening with traditional news. Easily, and this just didn't happen. This has been growing for a while. And it was to be expected with the emergence of technology. Let's be honest. Okay? Now, so as you can imagine, as the right moved further right and the left moved further left and the center didn't know which direction to move to, you had more online news network growing because suddenly there was a war of ideology and people needed to be educated, especially young people. You'll remember that President Trump said young people, he actually thanked his son Barron, who was the one that drove his the number of young people that voted for him to vote for him. So today we're going to be talking about Nova Democracia or Nova Democracia. It's a Brazilian independent newspaper known for its critical stance on global and national issues. Despite its significant following of over 75,000 subscribers, you know how long it takes to build subscribers, people. The YouTube channel Plantão Palestina, which was dedicated to covering Palestinian issues, was unjustly removed. Recent observations indicated that social media platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, are suppressing pro-Palestinian content. This pattern of takedown raises questions about the broader implications for free expression and the visibility of various perspectives in digital spaces. YouTube has cited community guideline violations as the reason for many such removals, though critics argue this disproportionately affects pro-Palestinian voices. My guest today, all the way from Brazil, is Enrico de Gregorio. He's a journalist at Nova Democracia. He is the anchor of the program Palestinian Daily of the newspaper Nova Democracia, one of the largest Brazilian live news shows on Palestine, which has taken place since October 7th, 2023. Enrico has interviewed dozens of national and international personalities related to the Palestinian struggle. And in 2024, he carried out a report on the Palestinian refugees in the city of Sao Paulo. Enrico, good afternoon from Lagos, Nigeria.
Good afternoon to the audience, and I'm very pleased to be here, and thank you very much for the invitation.
Oh, it is our absolute pleasure. I mean, you know that there's a huge, Nigerian, if you like, Yoruba community in Brazil. So we're connected. We are totally connected. So as the host, because it looks like the network on your side may not be stable, so we'll try and move as fast as possible. Tell us about your show and what you've been covering on your show, first of all.
Okay, so yes, we are very connected from this point of view that you mentioned, and from the point of view that the issues that affect the Nigerian people and also the young people, I refer to imperialism and the problems of Nigeria and the problems of Brazil. They are very similar, so yes, we are very connected, and that's a reason also for me to be very pleased, very happy, very honored to be here. And about the show, the Palestine Daily or Palestine Watch, it was a program that Nova Democracia newspaper launched on October 9th of 2023. It was the first program entirely dedicated to covering the war on Palestine, the genocide of the Nazi Zionist state of Israel on the Gaza Strip. Here in Brazil, I refer on the popular and democratic press. So it was the first program to be launched by a popular newspaper. And since October 9th of 2023, we made a daily program on YouTube every day on 7 o'clock, then 8 o'clock p.m., covering the actions of the resistance and also the actions of the Israel state against the Palestinian people. So this was our focus. It was to cover the genocide, but also to emphasize the resistance of the Palestinian people throughout the armed struggle. That was our position, to legitimize and to make very clear that Palestinian people was resistant to the genocide by every means necessary. And we have 100% certainty that it was this editorial line, this position, that made YouTube do what it did to us.
Now, tell me something. That position, you've held it for, if you started on October 7th, that means you've had the same position for 15 months, 16 months. Why now? Why do they cut you off now? And what exactly did they say? In actual fact, take us back to your last episode.
Yes, okay. We believe that YouTube decided to ban us now because of the situation of the Palestinian struggle in the world. Of course, A Nova Democracia wasn't the first newspaper or the only newspaper to suffer a censorship from a big company of social media enterprises. We have a lot of cases of repression against journalists, against newspapers. We had the case of the Credo that was banned from Instagram. We had the case of Electronic Intifada that was also censored. And we believe, of course, that as long as the Palestinian struggle, how can I say, accumulated victories against the Zionist state of Israel, the Zionists all over the world decided to make a more offensive move against the voices that were defending the armed struggle of the Palestinian people, the armed struggle for liberation. The episode of the first YouTube moved against was an episode that we talked about how the editor of BBC was linked to Mossad and the CIA. We also talked about the actions of the Houthis in Yemen and the actions of the Palestinian resistance. So this was the episode that YouTube said, look, this is violating our politics, this is violating what we believe it is good for our platform, and you guys are propaganda of extremist and terrorist organizations. This is what they said. They didn't mention what line or what news or what phrase specific made them reach this conclusion. But this was the episode, and when they announced that to us, they announced that our channel would be demonetized. So we were okay. We were already expecting that, and we'll keep doing our show because we're not doing it for the money. We are doing for the information, for journalism. And 2 days after it, YouTube decided to ban our channel with no previous warning. And even though in the action that they demonetized us, they said explicitly this: if you guys violate our politics again, you will suffer some consequences. That is, you will not be able to do live shows. You will not be able to post on the community section of your channel, and one or more rules that they would move against us. They didn't mention the ban that our channel would suffer. 2 days after, they decided to ban our channel, and they said that we could move an action against, we could contestate the decision, and we did that. But a few weeks later, like 2 weeks later, our channel simply disappeared from the YouTube. So that happened this week, actually. When we accessed YouTube, we could see the A Nova Democracia channel, click, and we got the warning of YouTube saying that the channel was banned and that we could contestate that decision. Now we just cannot see A Nova Democracia on YouTube. Wow. It was like it never existed on YouTube. And it is a channel that exists for more than 15 years. We have a lot of reports on the Brazilian struggle, on the peasant struggle, on the police operations, on the favelas here in Brazil. And we have exclusive reports of all that struggles, because A Nova Democracia always did in loco reports when we cover the
we're not hearing you at the moment. I think your bandwidth has gone quite low that we can't hear you. Can you hear me? Enrico, can you hear me? Yes, I can see you're speaking, but I can't hear you. That's what's that's what's curious. It's bandwidth issues, I'm afraid. My technical team, I can see they're trying to do it. They're trying to fix it right now. I can see them try talking to me again. Perhaps it's okay now. No. Unfortunately, we can't hear you. Yeah, we can't hear you. Okay, they're asking you to reconnect, to come out of the Zoom and reconnect back to the Zoom. Hopefully that will make things better. We will be able to ask, or you will be able to ask Enrico some questions if you call 0201 2770 993 0201 465 7190, or you can send a text message to 0809 597 5805. Just to recap what Enrique has said is that they've been working, they've had this channel for 15 years. It's not just been about Palestine, it's been about the local issues. If you know about the vuvuzelas in Brazil, if you know about the rights of indigenous people in Brazil, there's quite a lot that's happening in Brazil, social, economic space, cultural space, even gender space. So clearly they've been working on all of that even before October 7th. Are you back with me? Can you hear me now, Enrico? I can't. Are you on mute? No, I can't hear you. Yeah, you're connecting to audio. You can't hear me yet. Sorry about this. Lagos, Nigeria, wherever you're joining us from, the diaspora, we're literally trying to resolve, because, you know, this is borderlines. We go beyond borders. And when you go beyond borders, technology can do what technology does. Can you, I think you're trying to reconnect to audio. I can see it on the screen. So I will continue to recap. And when you're able to hear me, just say hello and I will hear you. All right. I'll know that we're back. Are you back now? Enrico, can you hear me? Your audio is not connected yet, Enrico. Yes, I still can't hear you, unfortunately. I think apparently they need you to check your audio device. Sorry about this. That's what happens with technology, peeps. Please bear with us. Apologies. Apparently you need to check your audio device. Are you back?
Okay.
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Yes, I can.
Okay, sorry about that.
No problem at all. Look, we're flying beyond borders. That's what happens with technology. Yeah. So what you're basically saying is YouTube has deleted, you know, your channel totally, everything about you, about your channel rather, without giving you any reasons as to why. Is there a way for you to actually appeal this? And is there anything you can do at all to appeal that decision?
Yes, in the first warning that they had, they gave us about the ban, they gave us the chance to appeal. And we immediately started a campaign of solidarity with our newspaper. And again, thank you very much because you are part of that. And simultaneously, we also contacted a lawyer that is a specialist on defending journalists that are being targeted by censorship or other attacks. And this lawyer is helping us to move a process, move an appeal against YouTube. And we are very optimistic that we will be able to get our videos back and maybe our channel back. We were caught by surprise when YouTube deleted our channel from existence because the ban, okay, we were already expecting because we know how these big corporations treat the popular press, the democratic press, and now specifically the pro-Palestine press. But when they deleted it from existence, it was a surprise because when they banned us, they said that we could appeal until 2030.
Wow.
When we had like 5 years to move an appeal against YouTube. So we were on a large deadline, and suddenly our channel was banned from existence. But yes, we are not going to give up. We are maintaining our campaign of solidarity, and we are also moving forward with our lawyer against YouTube, because YouTube has, I mean, beyond being a arbitrary case against a democratic newspaper, YouTube has to respect the laws of the country that the channel is streaming from.
Absolutely.
And there is no law here in Brazil that defines Hamas or the PFLP or the FDLP or any other organizations of the Palestinian resistance as a terrorist organization. Brazil does not recognize that. So when we are talking about the Palestinian resistance and giving information about the actions of Palestinian resistance, first, we're doing journalism. And second, we are not propagating news about terrorist organizations, because the laws of our country does not understand this way. And if understood this way, we would indeed, even though we would give that news, and we would indeed, even though cover the actions of the Palestinian resistance, because our journalism is committed to the interests of the peoples of the world. But I mean, the law of our country does not recognize them as terrorists, and YouTube is also violating this understanding that YouTube has to respect the laws of the countries, of the channels that are streaming from.
Indeed. Let's talk about the Brazilians, or Brazil and its relationship with the Palestinians. Brazil has always stood with Palestine. Talk to us about that historic relationship, how far that dates back to.
Okay, so Brazil has a lot of ties with Palestine and also Middle East. Brazil has a large Arab populations of migrants. We have a large Palestinian community, and since we from Nova Democracia started the Palestine Daily, we made a lot of relations with this Palestine community. We covered the Congress of the Arab Palestinian Federation of Brazil. We have a lot of organizations of the Palestinian community here in Brazil. And also we have a large Lebanese community, a large Syrian community. It is very common to meet Arab descendants, Arab immigrants here in Brazil. And also in the official field, diplomacy and all that, Brazil always maintained relations with the Arab countries, with Palestine, with the Lebanon, and all those countries. So it is a very deep relationship. And since October 7th, since the start of the war and the genocide against Gaza, this Palestinian community here in Brazil is very mobilized. We had a lot of demonstrations. We had demonstrations in universities, on the streets, on big cities. And we also have a particular case here in Brazil that is the connection of the peasant struggle and also the indigenous struggle with the Palestinian struggle. Here in Brazil, there are a lot of peasant movements and also indigenous communities that identify themselves with the Palestinian struggle, because it is a struggle for the land, it is a struggle against imperialism, and it is a struggle against invaders. So they identify, and there is a particular movement here in Brazil that is the League of Poor Peasants, that in a lot of statements since 2023, it mentions the relations and with the Palestinian struggle, with the Palestinian people. It honors the Palestinian resistance. And in every area of the League of Poor Peasants here in Brazil, they have a Palestinian flag side by side with the flag of their movement. So they identify a lot with the Palestinian people. So we have a really deep bond when we're talking about the Arab community here in Brazil, but also with the Brazilian people struggle for basic rights, for the land. And also I have to mention the struggle here in the favelas, because the favelas here in Rio de Janeiro, in São Paulo, and the really big cities, they are big fields of people hugely concentrated on poor houses.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, I can't hear you again. I believe we've got issues with the sound again. I'm not hearing you. I'm not hearing you again. I presume you can hear me, Enrico. Yes, you can hear me, but I can't hear you. Yeah, you can hear me. Yeah, you're putting your thumbs up to let me know you can hear me. I don't know what's going on, but it's interesting. I mean, I do hope they're not getting in between our conversation. Apparently, yes, I can see that your bandwidth is low. It's interesting what you've said about the way YouTube shuts down your channel. And of course, the growing, shadow banning, or even some who have been removed from Meta, which would be Facebook and Instagram and all those things. And I earlier today, I have two shows on this channel. I know they're both on Fridays. I have three shows, but two live shows. Earlier today, on my first show, I spoke about the war of algorithm. The war of algorithm, where the algorithm, China has the algorithm, which is TikTok, and America has the algorithm, which is Twitter and Meta, right? The global South, the global South do not have theirs. Do you think this is a case of, it's a wake-up call for the global South, be it, Latin America, Africa, and Latin America and Africa have a great deal in common, to actually create their own algorithm so that there isn't a dependence on Western algorithm and, China by extension? Oh, you are speaking and I can't hear you. Oh, do we go on a quick break? Okay, hold on, Enrico. We'll go on a quick break and we'll be right back so that my tech people can talk to you.
Nigeria Info FM on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Also, get news updates in sports, entertainment, news, and current affairs right on the app. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
This is The Voice Note on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
You know, it echoed in this room. Look, Aliko and I go back a long way. He's done phenomenally well. About 2 decades done phenomenally well. Jim, Mike Adenuga and co. Let me tell you what they all have in common. They are all very combative personalities. Because of that, no regulator will go to them and try nonsense. Because most of them know how to deal with that regulator. We have to move beyond that, making Nigeria an economy only for the few people who are very combative. Some of us too are combative enough, so people know what's in regulation. Now let me continue, because those we are destroying are the 22-year-old entrepreneurs, the 25-year-old entrepreneurs. This economy is rigged against the youth. And it's not going to grow. When Aliko and I were 30, we were allowed to grow. Today, we're killing the youth from growing. So it's not going to grow. That's the point I'm making. And the reason, the things we have to correct, you see, any regulator that wants to get applause, just go after some people, destroy some businesses, and the more you destroy, the more they hail you. It's even proof that you're working. That's the paradigm shift. We have to get out of that complete nonsense. Without that, it will negate any monetary policy and everything else.
Be part of the discussion. It's Borderline.
On 99.3 Nigeria Info. Above and beyond borders. Beyond borders. It's Borderline.
With Ireti Bakare-Yusuf. This is The Voice Note on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
I have a dream. I am no Martin Luther King, but I am Olajumo Akinloluwa. Fellow citizens, imagine a country with no definite population, a nation where its people don't agree with its ideals. A person, an individual born to no nation, seems impossible, huh? Because every nation, regardless of its population, be it over 800 or over 1.4 billion, will have citizens. But citizenship is not geographical. It's about identity, shared beliefs, and patriotism. Obafemi Awolowo once said, Nigeria is not a nation, it's a mere geographical expression. And sadly, these words are still painfully relevant, as our shared Nigerian identity is still a far expectation rather than a reality. Awolowo's words were a call to action, to build and create Nigerians, true Nigerians, that will be committed to the purpose of creating the nation we all deserve. Decades later, the same thing. This call is still unmet. The scars of the Civil War wounded us deeply and we've still never healed. And although we may have come together to create a country in 1960, the wars that followed it tore apart the fragile unity our independence was supposed to build. And you see, these wars, political, ethnical, social, have wounded us deeply and created a legacy that continues to haunt us. It's not even just about the war itself. It's about how bad governance, corruption, and the failure to meet the promises of unity have intensified our division as a country. Bad governance has continued to intensify.
The telenovelas of radio information. More news,
Okay, sorry about that interruption. Well, it was an interlude, actually. Hopefully the network, the Gremlins, will let us continue with this interview to the end. We don't have much time left. We have about 20 minutes or so. Right, so did you hear my question the last time when I was talking about the algorithms? How, alternative media, the people of the global south are too dependent on US algorithm or Chinese algorithm. Do you think it's time we created our own in order to avoid these sort of things?
Yes. I think it is an interesting question, and a curious case about that is that the first social media that started censoring us on a dissimulated way was TikTok. We started publishing short videos about the Palestinian struggle on TikTok, and while other videos about other themes had like hundreds of views, the videos about the Palestinian resistance had like 3, 4, 7 views because it was simply not distributed on the platform. So yes, I think something that we have to think about, the algorithms politics, and how to manage this situation. But something that is raising me a lot of attention is how the people in the struggle can use these platforms, because I think that any people in a serious revolutionary struggle will have a problem on using a platform that is under control of a big a government that is against this particularly revolutionary struggle. And I think that the Palestinian struggle since October 7th, the war of the Palestinian people for liberation, gave a lot of lessons about how to use social media, about how to use these technologies to make a propaganda about itself. I think that the videos of that the Palestinian resistance released on Telegram, released on Twitter, now X, and released on all over the internet was a really good example of how a people engaged in a revolutionary struggle can use the internet, can use these medias to talk about its struggle. So I think that a lot of people that support the Palestinian struggle, it was absolutely impressed with the videos that Hamas, or with the videos that the Houthis, with the videos that the PFLP, that all these movements started to publish on internet, that channel Resistance News Network, that it was a source for a lot of newspapers and news portals that talk about the Palestinian struggle. So I think that, yes, the algorithm is a problem that has to be resolved, that has to be that people need to think about how to deal with it.
Yeah.
But I think that the people in the struggle also find a way, and we will always find a way to make the propaganda of its struggle, because a serious revolutionary struggle will also shock itself with the big corporations, with the reactionary governments, with the governments that are against it. But that is not a reason for pessimism, because people always find a way, and always, of course, here we are in a situation in the world that these systems in which we live, the imperialist system and the US domination in the world, is falling apart. Yeah. And in this particular situation is when they will move all their laws and all their they have in hand to censor, to limit, to move their aggression and all that they can to suffocate the struggles, because they are not healthy. This system is clearly falling apart. This system is clearly on a general crisis.
Thank you. Yeah.
It is not a healthy system.
No, it isn't, certainly. Let's talk about independent journalism then.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Oh, now you can't hear me. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? No. Can you hear me now? Just wave your hand if you can hear me. No, he can't hear me. Unfortunately, the gremlins have really played havoc with our conversation today. He can't hear me, unfortunately. So whilst you're all listening, you would have heard what Enrico was talking about, which literally is censorship. It's the censorship of voices and the control by hegemonies to actually, support the platforms that echo what they want, and the independent platforms who actually speak the alternative, who will open up the debate, right? Who will invite for constructive and educative debate. Enrico, are you able to hear me now? Are you able to hear me now? Are you able to hear me now? Unfortunately, can you hear me? Oh, I'm afraid I don't think he can hear me. I don't think Enrico is able to hear me, unfortunately. And we only have 10 minutes left, if that. I really wanted to talk to him about independent journalism, and the critical importance of independent journalism, especially in this moment when we are at a juncture where there is literally a war of ideology going on. And that war also includes Nigeria. It's right-wing, left-wing liberalism, right? And we now have, in the most powerful country in the world, a man who is very much in the, I can't call him a right-wingist because I'm not quite sure that would be fair on him, because Donald Trump used to be a Democrat, then he moved to Republican. So, but what he is doing though is giving rise to right-wing extremists and giving them a platform and a reason, and a microphone and a stage to actually continue to say what they want to say, including, if we go back to Elon Musk, who gave the Nazi salute, something nobody would have dared do, just even a couple of months ago. If you did that anywhere in the world, you got cancelled. But Elon Musk did it. He did it on behalf of Trump, and basically excuses were being made all over the place. So independent journalism continues to actually invite us to question and interrogate these behaviors, from world leaders, from oligarchs, the very rich people, all of whom are literally controlling how we think, what we do, where we do it, etc. Enrique, you're back. Can you hear me now? I'm afraid. Okay, yes. You're still connecting. Enrique, can you hear me now? No. Gosh, this is such a shame because it's such an interesting conversation, but it's a good time for you to call me if you want to call. It's 0201 277 0993, 0201 465 7190. 08095975 is where you will send your messages, as I have a message here from Ayo. Ayo said, Borderlines, Cecilge, good evening. Every government that censors media can't but welcome alternative social media, or welcome alternative media. Social media has become real-time reporting platforms for news events. Most main media got the breaking news from alternative media. Every country should have its own algorithm. Thank you to your guest. Thank you, Ayo. That's very true and it's very interesting. I totally connect with that. Enrico, can you hear me now? Are you back? No, the line keeps actually. It's not just the line. I keep losing. Unfortunately his bandwidth is quite low at his location. But don't worry, we'll get him back. And if we can't get him back on the show, I will try to have him on my Instagram live, if you're very interested, because I think it's something that needs to be discussed seriously. How long have I got left? I'm not quite sure how long I've got left. But yeah, so as I was saying, independent media, can you hear me now, Enrico? Oh dear, no. Okay, as I was saying, so the voices and independent journalism is incredibly important, irrespective of which side you're on. Like I said, Donald Trump actually said he was able to, part of why he was able to win the election is thanks to his son, who was able to get him on alternative media. Can you hear me now, Enrico? No. Yeah, it was able to get him on alternative. He went on Joe Rogan, and this is where I have to bring in Borderlines, this show. Often, most of you would have watched interviews on, okay, I think he's back. Are you back, Enrico? Enrico, are you back? Okay, do call if you want to call, and if you want to talk to me about independent media, independent journalism, alternative media platforms, I can take your calls, and of course I can answer it for you. 0201-277-0993, 0201-465-7190, or you can send a message. Do I have a message at 0809-597-5805? Yeah, somehow the bandwidth of my guest in Brazil is not happening, but I will have him again. Like I said, if not here, I will have him come to talk to me on my Instagram live. Let's see if I can hear him now. Hello, Enrico, can you hear me? No, I can't hear you. You are speaking, but I can't hear you. I can see you're speaking to me. Enrico, don't worry. We will have to plan this again, okay? Since you can hear me, we will plan it again. You will test it, and we will make sure that all will be well as best as possible. Okay? Just nod your head if you can hear me. I don't think you can hear me either. Yeah, so like I was saying, independent journalism is the way to go. It is taking over the world, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Substack, whether it's on Patreon. There's so many now. So many, and that's the way the world is going. Okay? Borderlines itself, as you know, we're on Instagram. You see us post our clips on Instagram. That is what we have to do. Everybody's doing that, all right? And we also have a YouTube channel. That is what we have to do. But one thing we can't afford to do, especially as journalists and as people of the world, irrespective of what side you're on, is to allow the oligarchs and the global leaders to actually shut and silence your voices. I think I've got to go now, right? We're literally, okay, we've still got 3 minutes. So if you want to call me, 2 minutes. If you want to call me, I will answer your question. All right, the lines are open. 0201-277-0993, 0201-465-7190, 0809-597-5805. Unfortunately, our guest isn't able to hear me, and I can't hear him, and we have to end the interview with Enrico earlier than planned. I believe we have a message on WhatsApp, which I'm just trying to get now. Or do I have a message? The message says, algorithm or bot. I think you meant bot. Algorithms are bots trained to boost certain content based on SEO and audience experience. You meant to say bots. Bots are trained to crack down on certain views, like the F word, for example. No, I didn't. I meant algorithm. I know algorithms are bots, etc., etc. When I say algorithm, I mean the tech. If you listen to my conversation with Inyi Aboyeji this afternoon, right? AI, tech. There's a tech, it's called tech feudalism. That's what's happening right now. So when I say algorithm, I actually mean algorithm, okay? The bots are trained to pick up on certain words, but the algorithm are written according to the person that owns it, right? It's like having a dog. You train your dog to like you and not to like me, right? So what do? You give them something that I've worn, right? They smell it, and you train them how to pick up my smell, and hey presto, it could all be rather ugly disaster. So yes, that's where we are. Anyway, we'll be right back with the next guest. You can't call now, it's too late, I'm afraid. Bye-bye, I'll be right back. My next guest is joining us. Hopefully the lines
99.3 Nigeria Info. We'll be right back.
To watch YouTube. Not my phone again. Every time YouTube.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's